let's start the show.
It's July 25th, 2013. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com. I'm Will Smith, seated directly to my left. Norman Chan.
I guess I'm the closest person to your left. I would not call that directly.
You are
directly to your left is the wall.
You think the empty space where
Empty
there's nothing?
space.
Okay. Seated directly to my left is a large patch of empty space, and beside the empty space, Norman Chan.
Hello.
How you doing, Norm?
I'm doing all right. I'm not sick anymore.
That's good. You pushed through the Comic-Con like crud faster than ever before. To your left is I think this is a first time visit to This Is Only a Test
Yes.
from Jeremy Williams.
Hello.
Now, those of you who have known us for a long time know Jeremy Williams as, let's see, I guess, with us. You are our premier producer.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I first started with the PC Gamer one, and to do that, I had to define podcast for the editor-in-chief, Dan Morris.
And then he got really excited about it. He was super on board.
I don't know if
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the pitch because you weren't in office. You were
Yeah, I was in Chicago.
remote then, and we were chatting, and those days were like our interaction was mostly just playing Quake. with each
TF2.
other. TF2.
TF2,
It was before TF2.
It was
guess.
way before
Yeah,
TF2.
that's right, yeah.
It may have been TF Classic.
It was a Quake 3, and you came with this idea of podcasts.
Well, hold on.
what is
No,
this?
hold on. Jeremy didn't invent
No, you didn't know.
podcasts.
You didn't invent. We all know what's his name
From
invented
MTV.
The Podfather.
Pod.
What's his name?
Adam Curry.
Adam Curry.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's right. Invented podcasts, but you brought it to our attention, and then you set up the website.
Yeah.
And the idea that we could record audio over. Was it still Skype back then?
Yep, totally.
It was all Skype.
Skype.
You know, it's for real. I mean, the reason I wanted to do it is because I had worked out here, like you said, and then I went to Chicago, and I didn't have that circle of friends anymore. And I realized that I needed that umbilical, and I wanted to. I know that the conversations that you guys have in these communities are so fun, and to not be a part of that anymore, it was sad. And I wanted to make sure that people who didn't have that circle could be in on them.
It's like that's when I look back at places I've worked in the past. Like the work is great. The conversations in the big room full of people about stuff that's both topical and inane.
Yeah.
It's both the best part of the podcast and the best part of working at Future or Whiskey or wherever it is we've worked over the years.
Agreed.
I'm trying to dig up the very first episode because PC Gamer is on their 357th episode.
It's
It's
out
like
there.
6.5 years.
We did it under the radar. We put it on the web server, and it crashed the website, and Dan got called into the principal's office.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that was an expensive mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you
do you
had to
remember-
put it on the CDN, man.
That before PC Gamer had a podcast, they actually did web radio streaming, PC Gamer Radio with Gary
That
Whitta.
was a long time
So
ago.
I did
Yeah, a long
that
time ago.
once. Like I came in for the very last episode of that. It was called Imagine Radio.
Right.
And it was Shoutcast maybe. It was you had to be listening live. Mm-hmm. It was where the whole system broke down. But so for people who maybe are a little bit newer, they will remember you from the Pixelbox video a few months ago now, which is a thing that you have made. And we'll talk about that a little bit in the not just future, and the pinball table lighting project, which also is awesome.
Yeah.
And
the Tron Mini Arcade.
Tron Mini Arcade, of course.
I saw that in an arcade machine.
I was going to say, you did the interview.
No. So yeah, I watched that video online. I saw the Tron Mini Arcade at California Extreme. At the
Oh,
Tron
cool.
Arcade there.
Yeah, represent. Awesome.
I don't know if it was your old machine or
No.
but I was like, wow, that was part of your work was there.
Yeah. Cool.
So normally I worked Comic-Con last week. We recorded a podcast from the road, from a car as it was driving down 5. I didn't think we could do that, but it worked out okay.
That's just fine.
You didn't stream it, did you?
No,
not this time.
We did that once at CES.
Twice, thank you.
Twice at CES. And that was over Ustream.
10 hours of Ustream.
And it was fun because we had to maintain the internet connection the whole time.
And the level of energy over 10 hours. It made the drive go really fast.
parts of the drive go really fast, and parts of the drive were very difficult. And the best part of that one, for people who watch will remember, is that when it got dark, it was really weird. People on Ustream would pop in, they didn't know what it was, and it was like, is this like some weird porno thing? Like, dudes
like
in a
Bang
van,
Bros?
there's like a girl there,
Yeah.
and they're like, everything's real weird and dark, and
then disappointment set in.
yeah, oh,
Yeah.
very, very disappointing.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it was like a David Lynch film, right? Because like we just aimed the camera at night. We just aimed the camera out front, so it was just like headlights, a straight road. Occasionally, you'd see a reflector or like the eyes of an animal off on the side of the road,
Yeah.
but nothing else for hours on end because we were driving through like the high desert of Nevada and California, and it was real weird. I don't encourage that behavior. It's not smart. We didn't live stream the drive down to Comic-Con this year because we had a couple of stops. But we did record a podcast, and that was interesting, and Norm shared Comic-Con memories. But we're back from Comic-Con now, which is good. I'm happy about that. We haven't talked about like the last little bit of Comic-Con.
Yeah, well, hold on. I called up the first PC Gamer podcast.
Okay.
Episode 1, which was done August 30th, 2005.
Wow,
so
that was-
right before TF2. A year before TF2, I guess.
When did Adam Curry invent podcasting?
It was real early.
Yeah, it was prior to that.
Yeah, it was early thousands or late 90s.
No, it wasn't late 90s.
Let's find on Wikipedia.
I'm fact checking while you read. Yeah.
We had a guest on, Chris Taylor from Gas Powered Games.
Yeah,
was
that's
a
right.
guest. We did it like a radio show. I don't remember how long the podcast was, and I can't download it right now. But that's great.
8 years ago.
8 years. Oh my God, it still works. This file. How long
So-
is this podcast?
What was he talking about then? Was he that Supreme Commander timeline, or is that Dungeon Siege?
Dungeon Siege. It
Okay.
must have been Dungeon Siege. I'm gonna download this because apparently the file is still on the server. It's a 20 megabyte file.
Wow.
It-
That's
it's-
impressive. You're on archive.org.
I'm on archive,
But
but
it links to the real
back to
thing.
the original thing.
That's impressive.
All
right.
So in October 2003. So you guys were 2 years in, but it didn't really take off until like 2004, 2005.
Not bad. A
Nice job,
43 minute podcast.
Yeah, that's why I had to define it for Dan, who is otherwise very, very smart and knowledgeable.
Well, it was a new thing.
Yeah.
Um,
This is very dry. Let's move on to Comic-Con.
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
You're not supposed to say that during the show.
there is some water right next to you. If you feel a little dry. We were at Comic-Con the whole week. For people
That's
who
the
just listen
longest
to,
I've ever gone to Comic-Con.
Now,
also,
I've never
for the
been.
record.
Is it like E3 where you don't want to go, you kind of have to go?
No.
No. You
I
wanna
like
go.
E3. E3's fun.
Really?
Yeah, at post, you haven't been to E3 since the Santa Monica thing. It's completely changed.
Well,
It's
we
much
also
better
don't go to
now.
E3 the way like
a-
real
yeah.
games journalists go to E3.
We go for a day and shoot like 3 videos, and then we're out.
Oh, that's nice.
The Comic-Con is if you took E3 and CES and old school Comdex and smashed them into each other. So like on top of each other, it's like 3 conferences stacked on top of each other because there's so many people there.
But the people are fewer people than CS. CS like is in
Just-
Las Vegas Convention Center, and that's
It's
much bigger
huge.
than the San Diego Convention Center. So it's a smaller space, but still 140,000 people, and it's not like all press or industry people. It's all fans.
It's humans,
Yeah.
real people. They're sweaty.
families,
Yeah, they're strollers.
tourists.
So yeah, we went 6 days. There are a lot of people there, a lot of people in costume. But like, it's funny. You said when we were having lunch that you felt like everybody at Comic-Con is in costume.
Because I've only seen it online, and the photos you see of Comic-Con are of the cosplayers. So I've always been intimidated. I was just like, I can't go. I don't have a costume.
You can make a costume. You're handy.
It's not Dragon Con. Dragon
I
Con,
don't.
you might need a costume.
You know, I don't know if I care that much, but
What's-
it turns out you don't have to.
You absolutely do not have
No,
to.
the hardest thing about Comic-Con is getting tickets because they sell out incredibly fast. Finding a place to stay down there is really hard at this point. Like the con has dramatically outgrown San Diego Convention Center and the surrounding area. But I think like talking to people, it seems like the only reason it works and the reason so many people come is because of the proximity to LA. So like you can get Robert Downey Jr. and Simon Pegg. And
Well, they've wanted to move it to Anaheim for years, but San Diego doesn't want it to move because it brings in so much money. And so the city has negotiated deals with the organization that runs it to keep it there through 2015 and has promised to build more hotel rooms to accommodate that. But the organizers have threatened to move it to LA and put it at the Anaheim Convention Center, which is just as big,
Yeah.
with more hotel space right close to Disneyland and just less of an urban area. There'd be fewer like evening things to do, but that's not a bad thing. Like fewer like people just drunk at bars. You know, you go to Disneyland after Comic-Con, that'd be pretty amazing.
There are a lot of really drunk people at bars. We watched a guy get heckled trying to parallel park on 5th or 6th. I can't remember which street. But like they have all these outdoor like sidewalk cafes, and people were sitting at the bar on the outside edge of this, just giving him the business, like the full on like hey, cheering every time he switched in from park into drive. It was pretty impressive. Comic-Con's fun.
It's fun. You're right. It's overwhelming. You can't. A lot of people go for one particular thing. If you're into anime, you're gonna go for the anime things. You're into board games. They have like some board game stuff. The exhibit hall is structured in the way that there's a lot of like organization. Like if you just like video games, one wall is all the new video game stuff. If you just want cool, interesting T-shirts, there's the retailers for T-shirts are in a certain place.
Well, and there's independent artist alley. There's the movie studio section.
And then there's
because this cool here. There's lots of indies because the impression I have is it's become very corporate.
So the New York Times had a good piece over the weekend about the clash in cultures, and we talked about this in the last podcast we did of how it's Comic-Con movie studios in around 2005 started getting really aware of how marketable it was. And they take up all the booth space and do all the the events, and they pay all the money, which is fine. But then you have this emerging nerd tribes that are kind of popping up that do their own meetups and do their own events outside Comic-Con and around and throughout it, and that's where you can find the really cool stuff. It's like the Louvre. If you go to the Louvre and you try to see everything, you're going to be disappointed.
It's just like that.
It's just like the Louvre, except instead of high culture. It's low culture. Remember, maybe like culture.
So what's the Mona Lisa in this analogy? Is that like the Iron Man
Robert
armor
Downey
gallery?
Jr. No, Robert Downey Jr.
Okay.
is this Mona Lisa.
This is Mona Lisa?
You have to wait in a line for 2 days outside to see him.
And then when you get to see him, you get 35 seconds, and they usher you past.
Very far away, and that's it.
He's smaller than I expected.
He's a little man.
It used to be that if you were pressed, you could walk up to the side of the big hall, and there would be a press photography area, and I was there with like a dinky camera, dinky pictures, 8 years ago, and now you have
to be real press.
You have to be real press and wait 2 days to get in.
Yeah. It's
but they made big announcements, and like things happened there.
What were the big announcements? Because I did not see big announcements.
Things happened there that we have no idea that happened, even though we were there for 6 days. That were big media announcements, such as the next Superman movie is actually going to be a Batman Superman movie.
Wait, what? Who's directing it? Zack Snyder? Ew. Oh, sorry, I said that out loud. Okay. Jeremy just shakes his head.
I just think this is a stupid argument. I mean, I'm of the opinion that Superman is going to beat Batman.
Well, no, in the movie, Batman will. It's a versus.
It's a versus?
It's a versus. They will fight and then team up.
I know there's Batman people out there, but it just doesn't make any logical sense to me.
They announced the new X-Men, or they've been working on the X-Men movie. Everyone who's ever been in an X-Men movie was at Comic-Con for the next X-Men movie coming out in next year.
Okay, extras and everything?
Well, in lead speaking role.
Ray Parks?
Everyone who basically has been in an X-Men movie.
It's like Star Trek Generations.
It's like Generations. They meet, the past meets the present and the future. And Bryan Singer's back to direct that. They had Hunger Games there, which I don't really care too much about.
I like Hunger Games.
The Avengers are all basically there. The Thor people are there. The guy who played Loki, Tom Hiddleston, went on stage as Loki, dressed up, and did a speech as Loki, chastising the audience and then recruiting them for his cause.
It was basically like the German scene in Avengers.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
I mean, the actors will do that for the marketing.
All of this stuff are things that we didn't see.
There are a bunch of things for TV shows.
There was a. I mean, here's the thing: is the experience I have at Comic-Con is very. Norm has a very specific goal when he goes to Comic-Con. We'll talk about that in a minute. My experience at Comic-Con is that I kind of go in and I treat it like going swimming in the pool when it's really hot outside. So like you occasionally jump into the pool for a minute to cool off, go in for like 30, 40 minutes, but then it's time to get out, go over to the pool bar, have a cocktail, be a normal human being again for a little bit, because I get real claustrophobic. It's just too many people. You get all
Yes.
crunched in with people, and like there's a lot of touching, and it's nice because you see people, like people see us and they're like, oh, you guys are from Tested, we love you.
Cool.
And that's rad. That's always cool.
Yeah, met a lot of fans.
Met a ton of fans.
They just came up to you?
Oh yeah,
Nice.
I mean, it's that kind of like it's like PAX. I don't know if you've ever been to PAX, but it's the same
Nope.
kind of thing.
You go to PAX.
you-
before
I
we go
want
to
to.
Comic
I
Con.
want to. I have kids. It's hard.
You could.
PAX is great for kids.
Well, maybe my
Okay.
older kid, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Gary brought his baby to PAX last year.
I'm bringing my baby to PAX.
All right, I'm just
Yeah.
looking for an excuse, man. I don't get out much.
Oh, you want to go and not have the kids?
Oh, okay.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, but you can go and wait in a bunch of lines and go see a bunch of panels and see Robert Downey Jr. and people who are famous. You can talk to people who create stuff that you love. Like if you want to go meet comic artists or screenwriters or producers or whatever, like those people are in panels, and after the panels, you can go up and talk to them as a general rule. Depends on how
There's a
big
whole
star they
contingent
are.
of attendees who are just aspiring artists who have their portfolios and wait in line to get a free portfolio review and
Yeah.
to pitch their work.
If you want to go and buy a bunch of autographs from people who are in the autograph room, there's a room full of celebrities who are signing stuff. And
Buy autographs?
frequently you have to pay these days.
Yes. They're $40 for autograph for Brent Spiner, and
You're serious?
wow. I mean, you walk by him. He actually doesn't like taking photos with people if you don't pay for it. So if you yell like, "Brent, here, take a picture," he'll look really just won't even smile.
Oh my gosh.
What's your favorite Brent Spiner role?
Well, Data. I
Yeah,
don't know. I mean,
Data.
it's hard.
He was the cruise ship director on
Speed 2.
the Jack Lemmon Walter Matthau movie. He's a great role.
That's your favorite?
No, Data's my favorite.
All right.
That you can.
The thing that interests me most was when you told me you could buy things.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that it was basically a marketplace.
It
oh,
is.
it's a
As well.
massive
That-
marketplace.
And so now that I know that, I actually want to go more than ever.
So that's where, like, the first time I went there to Comic-Con, I didn't know, because we had a booth at Future. I had no idea what to expect, except for a bunch of, comic book nerds. And when I got there and I saw all these, like, independent artists doing just awesome work. And it's people from, like Ollie Moss and Scott C. and people who are famous designers.
Not comic book artists.
Not comic book artists, yeah, just designers and artists, all the way down to people who have like a small run indie comic that just do awesome t-shirt designs and stuff like that. And it's a really, like, I love going down there. It's much easier now. You used to carry a ridiculous amount of cash, but everybody has Square now.
Right? Yep.
So you can pay with cards and you don't have to carry $300 to buy t-shirts and stuff.
So comic book artists, you can
It's
pay
great.
for sketches. You can get a custom, like, commissioned sketch there on the spot. Some of the big ones you actually have to like do a lottery to pay for the sketch.
Wow.
It's like a real big famous artist like Adam Hughes who just does covers. You will do a lottery, and then like 3 people will get the opportunity
To pay.
for a commission. And then, like Will said, there are a lot of like just graphic designers, people who do their work online. You're unaffiliated with any comic book publisher.
Pop
And-
artists
and
is
they'll
what-
just
yeah.
they'll just sell prints. A lot of stuff is exclusive there, limited edition stuff's there. So
I
even
bet,
the big
yeah.
companies like Hasbro, they'll like release, or Mattel, they'll release one giant Transformer toy year will be at Comic-Con, and hundreds of people wait in line every day just to buy it. A lot of those people buying it, retailers, so they'll sell it at their booths. They'll wait in line one day to buy it from Hasbro, and then sell it at their booth at a markup, and turn around, make $50
And sell it immediately.
They sell it immediately.
They're kiboshing that some, though, because now they don't let exhibitors get in line before the
Well,
doors
they
are
never
open.
did.
Oh, okay.
They just wait in line.
But they have like old school Transformers that they'll sell that are like Metroplex from the 80s that are redone. And they're super cool. I mean, it's stuff you
Yeah.
couldn't get in the old days and
Real
are hard to get now.
Transformers.
Yeah, real
Mattel
Transformers.
sold they debuted their hoverboard from Back to the Future 2.
Does it really work?
Does not really work.
Fuckers.
It's
Do you remember that?
No,
you remember the rumors back in the 80s
Oh,
that
yeah.
it worked?
In
No,
Canada,
no,
they have one.
made one. It works.
You have to be on the right kind of
$140.
They
pebbles.
just can't sell it because it's not safe.
expensive. I bought
remember
this
that.
Ecto 1 there.
Yep. How much was that, Norm?
It was $110.
It's a lovely piece of work for
It is
$110.
1/18th scale micro machines.
I mean, and here's the thing. Even so, like Gina's been a couple times now. She loves going because like one year she just went and got in the line for Hall H and then sat in the Hall H all day, basically, which Hall H is the big 6,000 person or 4,000 8,000 person auditorium where all like the big movie panels happen. And she just sat and watched like the event, I guess it was the Avengers panel that year, and all the different stuff that came through, and just had fun. Like, nice. She was really into it. This year she got out and just walked around the floor and like was like, I'm just looking at costumes. Like, I'm here to look at costumes, and bought some prints for the baby's room and for the house and stuff like that. But just kind of just noodling around and meeting people and having fun. It's an awesome, like, the thing that I love about it is it's super inclusive. It's the same thing that's good about PAX and Maker Faire for that matter, is that kind of everybody comes and does their own thing, and as long as you're awesome and cool and don't impinge on anybody else, ruin anybody else's experience, it's all good.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
how much is a ticket?
It's about $100, $125 for 4 days, or a single day is about $25.
Yeah.
But they do sell out, and sometimes they have to do a lottery system for any leftover tickets.
Yeah.
So after we recorded the Still Untitled, maybe it was before, I can't remember, but we went and did some other stuff. Couple of other Comic-Con things that we didn't talk about in Still Untitled. There's a video of me and John Drake playing the new Fantasia Music Evolved game. It's pretty dumb. I'll just leave it at
The
that.
video, not the game?
The game is awesome. The video is dumb.
I think the game... I think John Drake, when we talked to him, and Eric Pope were right in that the license... And have you seen this game, Jeremy?
I don't think so.
So Harmonix, the people who made Rock Band and originally designed Guitar Hero, they are maybe a music company, and they are partnered with Disney to do a Kinect game for 360 and Xbox One based on the license Fantasia, which is a brilliant idea.
Yep.
And you play as the new Mickey, the new wizard, to fight the evil wizard.
Well,
but when you think of that license, because it evokes a strong memories, and because you have this instant, like, when you say Fantasia, music, motion game, it just makes sense, and you immediately come up with what you think would be a good interpretation of that. I think that because it's so easy to come up with a game in your head, the game that they made might not exactly be the one that you had thought up of, because it's such a no-brainer.
So there's there's different segments apparently, and I don't know a ton about the game, but the segment I played, you actually play as Igor Stravinsky, who is the composer in the original Fantasia. So you stand up, and if you remember, there's a shot of a silhouette of the composer, with like
at the beginning,
at the very beginning, with a colored background. And then what happened when I played was the colored background kind of faded away, and all of a sudden you're directing the stars basically. So the bit I played was that. It wasn't the Sorcerer's Apprentice bit. I think that's a part of the game they may not have shown yet even.
When we talk to like people like Colin Campbell, and he has kids who love Kinect, and Kinect 1 sold really well for Xbox 360, even though we knew the hardware wasn't the most it could be.
Wasn't very good.
They cheaped out on some of the hardware that we know that now, just to get it affordable, and it wasn't as responsive and wasn't as useful. But kids loved it because they get some type of feedback. They're going to jump in front of a TV, and with Dance Central or whatever, they're going to wave their arms, and as long as there's some type of visual feedback and there's music, they will go crazy. You have kids, that's pretty much true.
It's
right?
true. Yeah,
right?
my 6-year-old loves the Kinect.
So I think that a Fantasia game with the Xbox One, it can be a game. I mean, it can absolutely be a game that you can like get points in and play for points. But I would just be fine having a Kinect Fantasia game where you get to be a conductor, conducting music, and it just gives you some kind of cool feedback and lets you enjoy music. Great music.
I think I would buy this sight unseen just because it's going to be a new Kinect with a lot more capability.
Well, it'll be out. It's out on both platforms. It's out on old 360 and Xbox One.
I'm just looking ahead. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine on the old one too. But I mean, Harmonix can do no wrong. They have done.
They have a pretty
so
good
much
track
sense.
record,
Like you think about people before there was Guitar Hero, people played air guitar all the time.
Yep.
Right, and it's to mime that feeling of being a rock star was just natural to people who love music, and it's the same for people who love classical music, miming that like conducting action. People do it all the time. And
but it's not just classical music. I
mean,
played a fun song.
Any type of music.
The neat thing is they've recorded different alternate tracks for key bridges of the song. So like the fun song that I played, you can choose to play the original recording, or you can replace that with an a more electronic version, I guess, or like a marching band version. So you can have like this segment be the original track, and then the next one is the electronic version, and the next one is the trombones and bass drum, and then you can kind of weave it all together. And it was neat. Like what they've done is, it's not like, it's not like taking a mixing program or Logic or something and making your own loops and all that and making electronic music, but it's more like making music than you come up with something original every time.
Cool.
We also saw the Wired robot. Joey and I went over and saw they had I think 12 or 13 foot tall robot built by the Stan Winston School.
This is the robot.
The robot.
Yeah, this is amazing.
It was. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Usually that stuff you see and in person, you're kind of like, that's okay. It was fucking awesome.
Now, it was made by Stan Winston Company and Legacy Effects.
Legacy FX.
Yeah. And
in weeks.
And in
24 days.
Yeah.
2,000
very
man hours.
few
though.
weeks. When you say a robot, there was actually a person inside it,
Which
steering it.
When I saw it, I was like, oh my God, they made a mech.
It looks like
it's such a convincing costume.
It looks like a mech that's tethered to a big power supply that you'd actually have the remote control.
Right.
And like you could move more than 10 feet because, it
Yeah.
requires a lot of power.
Nope.
It's not that at all.
Totally
It's a
free.
suit. It's a suit.
So there's a guy inside it named Bruce. He's a puppeteer. And the way it works is they have the feet are like sheetrock or electrician stilts, the kind that you use when you're doing ceiling work in a 12-foot ceiling room or a 10-foot ceiling room. And then there's all the external stuff on the outside of that. So he puts on the stilts first, and then he like crouches up and climbs up inside the torso. So the robot has 4 arms, and the bottom 2 arms are his, and they're attached to the top arms with a linkage that mimics the arm movement that he has with the arms up
Scales
above.
it up and moves it.
Which is
Exactly.
somehow
With
connected
more
to an
torque.
audio system that makes it sound like servos.
So listen, so this will all be up next week. So we're going to give you a sneak preview. If you don't want to hear about the
2
videos, 2 weeks from now, if you don't want to hear about that stuff, then we'll just fast forward like 10 minutes because we're gonna blow this whole thing open. They have potentiometers on the key joints. The potentiometers measure the movement along the joint, and they trigger an Arduino to play the appropriate sound effect depending on which way the pot's going, so that when the robot lifts his leg, it makes leg lifting servo noises.
Very convincing.
When the robot's foot hits the ground, it makes a thump.
How much does it all weigh?
150 pounds plus the dude, so 300 pounds all
150
told.
pounds, and it's not all on his back, of course.
A lot of it's in the stilts. A lot of it is on him.
So it's about 100 pounds on him?
They said very specifically that they don't tell him how much it weighs until after he's done. Like when he's done with the puppet forever, they'll tell him how much it weighs, but they don't want him to know how much weight he's carrying extra now.
That's not good from a health perspective.
It's like being a really fat guy.
From a health, yes, it's true. If
Like-
you have a bad back, do not wear the robot costume.
So Bruce, just to be clear, the dude who's the puppet, it was ripped. Like
I imagine.
the whole 2,000 man hours that they were building the robot, he was in the gym like pumping iron, bulking up, and low
he
carbing
must know
and
how
whatever.
much
He
must
knows
know
the
for
ballpark.
safety reasons
He
how
knows
much it weighs.
He knows the ballpark, but they don't ever tell him exactly how much he's carrying. He knows it's between like 125 and 175 pounds.
God.
Only one guy operates it ever. Just to be clear, there are 2 or 3 people operating the puppet. There's Bruce who's inside. There's another person who's manipulating the head, which is a remote controlled puppet with servos and stuff.
Old
with
school
the
RC controller.
Yeah. And then there's either that person or a third person is actually operating the voice of the robot.
So the walker is not the voice.
The walker is not the voice.
Interesting.
But the walker has full communications with the outside world with the headset.
Okay.
So that he can talk to people outside, and he also has a camera inside that shows kind of his perspective, both from the inside, from like on the chest. There's a GoPro mounted on the chest looking
I saw
down.
some of that, yeah.
And then there's also a camera that's aimed at him, so he can see like, oh, there's a little kid coming up on him. I shouldn't step forward and crush this child. Wow. It seems
So
like
he has no direct optical line of sight for the outside world?
there's a little bit of a gap in the kind of chest plate where you can kind of see through, but it's all meshed over. So he said the
So it's a
visibility
screen.
is pretty limited.
It's a screen?
Well,
There's a screen inside.
as is visibility to him. That's why it's so convincing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you first saw the design, like not only did they look like they built a 2,000 pound mech that's mostly foam and MDF.
it's almost vacuum. It's almost all the plastic stuff is vacuum formed.
So
to make it as light as humanly
it's all
possible.
hollow.
Yeah. He said once they put it together the first time it was 300 pounds, and they took it all apart and broke out the hole saws and just started taking out chunks of material wholesale to reduce the weight as much as possible.
But it's like, oh, they designed a 4-arm mech. Why did they do that? And it makes sense because two smaller arms are the dude's arms.
When I saw those videos, man, I think I was more excited than anybody in the video.
Oh,
I was flipping out. I thought that was the coolest costume I'd ever seen.
Well, so our internet was I was in a hotel, so the internet was bad. And I wasn't able to see the video, the Atom reveal.
Yeah.
So the first time I saw it was when the dude was putting it on, and I was just like, "This is fucking incredible."
Oh, wow.
So he.
I wish we'd been there for
I'd
the
read the
Atom
article.
reveal.
Oh,
Yeah,
so do I.
Yeah, we missed out on that.
The one thing the other thing is, just so you don't worry about Bruce's health, when he was standing still and like doing photos and stuff with people, they had a rig that came up behind him that was like a little crane, and it lifted most of the weight of the top off of him.
So I would think that it would be smarter for them to anchor the weight, like have it all pushed down to the feet on the ground, so when he's standing still and not lifting, it just goes through him. It's on his shoulders, and it just anchors to the ground.
But the thing is, all that stuff on the outside wasn't mechanism. Like those hydraulics weren't real hydraulics, because they would have weighed a ton. It was all just fake. It's stuff that looked real,
and
but
it's all disconnected. There's no way to distribute.
There's
that
no way
to
to
the
distribute.
ground.
Like, so if
yeah.
he like relaxes his muscles, it's gonna fall over, and he will fall over.
I think like there's a standing position for it that's neutral. Like it was pretty clearly balanced in such a way that he wouldn't wipe out. But seriously
so
though,
sad.
falling was a real falling with that thing would have been
Very
really bad.
top
He was
heavy.
always
Yeah.
surrounded by guys in black T-shirts.
I don't think
that were keeping people away.
Yeah, and like there were also a couple of spotters that could say, "Hey, somebody's coming up on your left." Like when we were shooting, a guy got arrested down the street, and his path to the cop car was right by the robot.
Yeah.
So the spotters had to clear everybody back and like make sure that he wasn't because those big arms had like a 12-foot wingspan or something, arm to arm.
How articulated
So he could have wiped out.
were his hands?
There were no hands on the end of the robot. It was machine guns and like drills and stuff.
Yeah.
Does this disappoint you?
It does, absolutely.
Well,
Like from a puppeteering standpoint, imagine
24 days, Norm.
I understand. I'm saying that they couldn't.
He had a Gatling gun on one arm. Why? If you know what they say.
I want the robot to give you a thumbs up. A thumbs up robot is the best thing. I mean, James Cameron established this in Terminator 2. But a robot that can emote a thumbs up for a kid is the coolest.
If that's the one thing you could do, it would get old real fast. Every time you saw
well,
that
not
robot.
just the one thing, but like it's just that he could. Now maybe give someone else the finger.
If the only
right, that's also cool.
if the only tool you have is a chain gun, Norm, pretty soon everything looks like it needs to be shot.
Well, it's not a good thing.
Good
for a robot.
analogy.
Well, it's worked out so far. He was a friendly robot. It was really neat.
I got no thumbs up. I don't know how friendly he is.
You should watch the video.
And what's the deal? They tried to get him in the building, and they hadn't cleared it with security. and-
There's no way they could have walked that through the crowds that are there. They would have killed somebody.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if it starts to go, the dudes in black shirts aren't going to be able to stop it.
Right.
So, and if it hits the
But
ground,
there were like 1,000 Supermen there. They could have saved the guys.
Jeremy, those aren't real Superman.
What?
No, Superman's not real. He's not real. So yeah, Comic-Con. Norm, what did you do? You guys, Gina and the Munchers and I drove back on Sunday, and you guys stayed at the con for a whole extra day while we were driving up Interstate 5.
We actually were there only for maybe an hour at most, and then spent the rest of the time feeling tired, sore, and working back at the hotel room.
Yeah,
Which is a good way to spend the Sunday.
Yeah. We got the Saturday Night Fireworks show off the balcony of the hotel room, which was
Wow, that's
pretty
nice.
sweet. The baby was not impressed.
I bet.
Yeah, she likes fireworks, but
No.
bad scene. Yeah, she's into them.
Cool.
She's at our neighborhood. We have fireworks on Tuesday night, pretty much every week. So
Wow.
people launch fireworks a
Unsanctioned.
lot. Yeah, no, it's not official.
That
It's
kind of
not,
neighborhood.
it's not a Pacifica perk.
Yeah, no. Well, it is a Pacifica perk, but it's like oh yeah, it's Thursday fireworks. Okay, why not? Saturday, woo, woo.
Well, you can have fireworks in Pacifica.
Not really.
We can't. We can't even have sparklers in San Francisco.
Really, no sparklers
Legally,
What kind of fascism is that, man?
right? Yeah, but you guys are cool with sparklers.
So you just got back from a uniquely San Francisco activity. Can we talk about this for a little bit?
Oh, sure. Highly technical.
Yeah, no, you clearly don't listen to the podcast, Jeremy. You went to the official San Francisco summer camp, and it's like it's kind of a hipstery thing because like you have to apply.
Yeah, it's a lottery.
Yeah,
It's just
hard.
like
Wait,
school.
How is this the official San
Everyone's
Francisco
suddenly interested now that he knows it's
summer camp?
exclusive.
Oh yeah,
Right. Now that it's an elite group of people. It's,
me more.
It's called Camp Mather, and it's spelled like Mather, but they hated the guy who is named after, so they call it Mather.
Why did they name it after him if they hate him?
Yeah, this is my question. I don't know. Someone can tell us in the comments. But it's it's family camp, and I went there with my wife and 2 kids for a week. Was completely off the grid.
Okay.
And so that was
that by
initially-
choice, or is that
No,
like they take away your
it's just
phone?
how they do it.
Okay.
There's no cell access.
I'm out.
You can't.
Nope.
You have to drive a half hour just to get cell access.
Oh yes, yeah, I mean in Yosemite, absolutely.
There is Wi-Fi at a local lodge, and you can wander in there and pretend like you're staying there and use their public Wi-Fi. But
That's what I would
that's
do.
like a mile away. So yeah, it was off the grid. It was really cool. I mean, it was something that I did not think I could handle. But when I got back, I was kind of missing the off the grid lifestyle.
What's a day activity? Like you're there for a week?
Yeah. It's there's activities every day. There was a ping pong tournament. They actually have 4 or 5 outdoor ping pong tables, which was awesome.
That's cool.
And so there was a tournament for that. There was volleyball, badminton. All the meals are provided, but they give you a very small window to show up. So there's a line.
So what is
So
the
like at a
what is
camp
like
hall?
the theme?
It's like at a like a big.
So
mess
you
hall.
eat at like big family style tables.
with
Everybody
everyone
busts their
else.
own tays.
Exactly.
That's
Who
good.
organizes this?
Yeah.
It's run by the park district.
Okay.
It's and it's subsidized by them too. So
The
there's
Park District of San Francisco.
Yep. They consider themselves the flagship of the San Francisco parks, and there's all
You'd
kinds
think
of
that
things.
Golden Gate Park, which is the largest,
Yeah.
urban park in the country.
I think everyone else considers Golden Gate
Yeah,
Park
I would
the
think that
flagship.
that's the
but
flagship.
They consider themselves. But it's right. I mean, you can hike to Hetch Hetchy, which is the dam where San Francisco gets its drinking water from, and Yosemite that's in Yosemite, but
So it's like a 4-hour.
Do they have like basket weaving and
Yeah.
stuff like that? Is it like going to Boy Scout camp?
yeah, there's what do you call those things? Not basket weaving, but there's
It was the easiest merit badge at camp. Basket weaving.
dream catchers and all it's standard camp activities.
Okay.
There's canoeing.
Is there
hiking?
guns and archery and stuff like
There
that?
is archery,
Okay.
and my 6-year-old turns out is a wizard with a bow and arrow.
Really?
Yeah,
That's not good.
dangerous stuff.
No, that's not. There's an archery range down by our house, down by my house.
Cool.
Yeah, you should bring them down.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
There's one in Golden Gate Park too. I didn't know about.
yep. They're everywhere. Archers.
Yeah, thank God.
Year of
right?
the bow. Last year.
Last year, 2012. That sounds fun. It's
Cool. So they take your cell phone?
No, they don't take it, but there's no. I mean, it's a clock while you're there, and your iPod.
Yeah. That's what happened when I was at Yosemite also.
It was great. You
The
know,
drive back was just it's eyeing that signal bar.
Yeah,
You drove back, right?
We drove into Yosemite. We stopped at a lookout, our first lookout at Yosemite.
It was beautiful.
And when we parked, I got a ding from my phone. And I was like, oh my God, signal for the first time in days. And my wife, she's like, no, you are getting out of the car and looking at the view. You are not checking your email. So I followed my orders, but I was excited to check that email.
Good man, Jeremy Williams.
Thanks.
I've never been excited to check email, I don't think.
Every day, gotta keep it in box 0.
Should we talk about tech news?
Sure, there's a lot of tech news.
There's kind of a lot, yeah. Google had an event yesterday.
It was breakfast with
Sander.
Sander? That's not his name. Starts with S.
Anyway,
I forget. I should know his name, but I'm not very
he's the
good.
guy in charge of
Android.
Yeah, Sundar. Sundar Pichai.
Sundar, that's what I thought it was. And they announced all the things that people wanted them to announce at Google I/O.
They didn't announce all of the things.
Were you excited about new Google Maps at Google I/O?
Yeah.
Not particularly.
I don't like the new Google Maps.
I don't like it
Did
either.
you know that you can cache?
Well, I like the automated stuff.
Yeah.
In that were like if you search an address, you could just touch your.
I don't
another
like
point
the
and give it
visual
directions.
stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know that you can
used to it.
cache Google Maps on iPhone, so you don't have to have Signal to use them for specific
Offline
areas?
maps.
Offline maps.
It's the.
Yeah, that's always been the case.
No, only on Android.
Oh, no.
They got rid of it in Android in the new version. It's an Easter egg.
Yeah, you have to.
Huh.
I'm pulling up the instructions right now because it's a little tricky. You open up the map that you want to see, and then you
In the search bar, you type in a search.
So yeah, you
query.
type OK Maps in the search bar field, and it
Yeah.
will save it for offline access.
Did we talk about OK Glass, the origins of OK Glass?
No, but that was a Project Glass Explorer post of the day the other day. One of the marketing managers came up with it.
Well, she wasn't a marketing manager before this, and she used that as her pitch.
The origins of the phrase?
Of the phrase OK Glass. A marketer at Google wanted to get into that department to work with Google Glass and went to dinner with one of the project managers and wrote this
email.
This cute email about the phrase OK Glass and how she came up with it. But what was more interesting, I think the Next Web broke this story, was how what the alternative phrases that they were testing. Some of the phrases were
computer.
Well, computer is one of them for sure. Like computer, please. Device, please. Like on my command. Pew pew pew.
Pew 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 is pretty
Pew pew
good.
pew is one of them. Yeah, some of them were terrible though.
Well, I think they only shared the really, really terrible ones.
How many false positives do you get?
On OK Glass?
Yeah.
None, because the screen has to be on in order for it to fire
Okay.
to work.
All right.
Listen up, Glass. Hear me now. Let
Hear
me use
me
Glass
now
too.
is the worst one.
Go Glass.
Imagine if you're like walking down the street. Hear me now.
Hear me now.
It's like, are you a Verizon
me
commercial?
now.
Hear
Can
me.
you hear me now?
Hear me later.
Galassicus.
Galassicus.
Glass alive.
Oh no.
Device, please. Clap on.
So they went the right direction.
Yeah, they made a good choice. These are all terrible. I think these are intentionally terrible.
That's probably right. So yesterday they announced the new Nexus 7.
Yeah. It's made by ASUS.
Still made by ASUS.
It's going to cost $230.
It is in every way, aside from price, an improvement on last year's Nexus 7.
Yep.
Jeremy's already phasing out.
Are we on Android? I'll see you later.
It's just the next 20 or 30
It does run
minutes.
Android. Sorry, it doesn't run iOS. 1900 by 1200 screen. Is it 1200 or 1080? I think it's 1200.
I think it's...
It's 1200. It's a 16 by 10 screen.
1920.
1920 by 1200 screen weighs, I think, 290 grams, which is really light.
How much is that in Altoids?
I believe it is it's much less than a little more than the tin of Altoids.
Okay. So
One tin of Altoids weighs exactly the same amount as an iPod Touch, the new iPod Touch.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
yeah.
I took Altoids in and out and I got the exact number of Altoids. Figure
Wow.
that out.
This is what we do here.
$230 for 16 gigabytes, and then $270, I believe, for the 32 gigabytes, and there will be a SIM version.
So it's a little more expensive, right? Wasn't it 200?
It was
250?
200
It
for an
launched
8
at
gig.
200 for an 8 gig, and then they actually bumped that up for 200 for a 16 gig later on.
Okay.
So it is more expensive than the current Nexus 7, but the hardware is so much better.
Yeah.
Looks so much better, at least on paper. And then the other thing they announced was the
Hold on. So it's 16 and 32 gigs this time?
16 and 32, which is what the last Nexus 7 bumped up to by the end of the year, last year.
Cool.
You can get the Nexus 7, the old one in 32?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They didn't launch it with 32.
Okay.
I still think that's a great price, $230.
That's fine.
It runs with Android 4.3,
Fine.
which is released now if you have a Nexus device.
Yeah. Galaxy Nexus, Nexus 4, Nexus S.
Mostly
and Nexus 7,
under the
Nexus
hood
10.
improvements.
Well, hold on. There's a few things there. There's a new version of OpenGL.
Okay.
It's ES 3.0, said at Nantech. The 2D rendering pipeline improvements supposedly are going to make everything faster and smoother without requiring developer support. We've heard that before. It has gotten faster and smoother, but still, not awesome, right? WebM video stuff. And if you have things like, what's the thing that measures how many steps you take?
Pedometer.
Fitbit. Like
Pedometer.
the newer Bluetooth pedometers, like the Fitbit and the Jawbone and all that use Bluetooth Low Energy. There's now native support for the Broadcom chipset.
So you can
which
maintain
is-
a connection without sucking up too much
It's not that
energy.
you maintain; it's that it'll wake the device. And there's some really specific things that mean it uses dramatically less power to use Bluetooth devices that are kind of always on Bluetooth devices. So yeah.
Is that like a nearer field, though? You can't be quite as far with
I don't know if the range. I gotta assume it's not like 10 meters like normal Bluetooth is, which that also isn't true. But yeah, it seems like it's with the Fitbit at least. The Fitbit Zip, which is the little tiny one that I have, it's like 5 feet probably, and it only syncs when you tap it to wake it up. So but it's much less energy use. I think they're also supporting the newer versions of the Bluetooth metadata transfer stuff. So like if your car has support for that, if you have a 2012 or 2013 car that has Bluetooth audio, then you can get full metadata on the car, like for audio tracks and you know, anything you happen to be playing. Which the Explorer that we rented to drive down to San Diego had that, and that was really cool. The part of that wasn't real cool was when the whole front panel system crashed and I couldn't adjust the air conditioning without restarting the car.
Yeah, that's less cool.
That sucked. That was really bad.
I know what you mean with the Bluetooth, though. We did the same thing. Rental had all my track names on the screen.
Yeah.
I felt like it was on the internet. It was great.
Well, it blew me away when it did it for like podcast and Downcast and Arduino and Spotify and all that stuff. But like I said, not being able to adjust the air conditioning without rebooting the car kind of sucked.
And when we say rebooting car, you mean pull off the
I
side
mean,
of
I
the
had
road,
to pull off on the side of the road,
car.
turn off the car, and turn it back on.
Will reboots cars.
I could not have been more pissed. It was 110 degrees outside. So yeah, that's the new Android 4.3 stuff. The big deal, I think, though, is the Chromecast. This is a huge product for Google.
Yeah.
It's the Nexus Q, but for TVs, and also not stupid.
I would not call it. Not stupid is the key word there.
At first, I thought it was USB, and I said, "What? No. Okay, 5 people have TVs with USB. That's not going to work."
It's
Come on.
HDMI with CEC, which means it lets you power on the connect.
Consumer electronics control.
It does audio and some TV control.
Just to explain, it's a tiny little
It's a dongle.
HDMI
It's a
dongle
2-inch
that you
dongle.
plug into a free HDMI port
Yeah.
on your TV.
And you have to plug that dongle to power, USB power.
Yeah, that's the thing that they didn't tell people.
Oh,
yeah.
It has another cord that hangs out.
because
of it.
I've been so amazed that HDMI has that
No.
much power.
No,
Some well,
It's
there are
in the fine
devices
print
that do that.
Requires extra power. Like the Roku.
The Roku does that,
Yeah.
right? The Roku released an HDMI stick that is powered off the HDMI bus.
Huh.
The CEC stuff is basically pass through for power on, volume up, channel down, input selection, stuff like that from the TV. It looks like a neat product. Like it connects to Wi-Fi in your house. You use your Android phone to control it.
Use anything to control it. Platform agnostic.
Is there an iOS app for it yet?
Yes, I think I saw that it
They're
worked with Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix.
Yeah.
So apps that run on any operating system, whether it's going to Android, iOS app developers have to integrate it, or desktop even. So even browsers, Chrome obviously will be the first one to support it. We'll have a button to send that content to at least send the address of that content to the dongle.
So
to
that's my
Chromecast.
question. So it
Yes.
actually is automated. I mean, it's autonomous.
Yes.
It will
does-
start streaming to itself, not through your device.
not through your device.
So unlike
AirPlay, where if you
Yeah.
you need to actually
Right.
keep your phone in airplane mode, this will just send the address and where you were playing the video at, or if it's a video.
Yeah.
Depending on what type of protocol you're using, and then
That's
just
cool.
play the video there. The test said that you need the people who use it at Google's event said the quality was not great. The Wi-Fi connection needed to be really strong to have a good video stream.
well, but it's just if you have sketchy Wi-Fi, it's still got to be better than AirPlay because with AirPlay you're conceivably doing double transfers across the Wi-Fi because you're sending it to the phone and then back to the Apple TV. So you're using twice as much bandwidth as you would theoretically use otherwise.
Yeah, but you've got 2 devices that are plugged into the wall and have much better antennas, I would think. I mean, I don't think...
well, the Apple TV is. My Apple TV's on Ethernet, so I don't have any problems.
Right.
But with these are both Wi-Fi devices theoretically.
And hopefully the antennas inside that thing is good, which is something that will need to be tested.
Yeah.
And
I
you
assume-
can't control it with the physical remote. You need like an app to control your power
But it's
stuff.
only $30.
$35.
$35.
Even on Amazon right now. Ours shipped this morning.
That's amazing.
Oh, really?
And the reason it's cheap is because they need people to have it for developers to support it. It's like developers need to modify their apps and start supporting it. It's not just like built into iOS or built into Mac OS like AirPlay is. It needs actual developer support. So they want to get a ton of these out.
So
So
will
people
this-
actually put it in their apps.
Sorry, will this work on desktop browser as well?
Yeah.
So you just open a tab, start playing the video.
Not at launch. That's in beta.
Okay.
But it will be.
I think it works on Chromebooks, though, already.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it works with YouTube. YouTube, they've added a button to the playback panel.
and it just knows that your account is associated with this Chromecast Chrome player.
The Chromebook must see it on the
Okay.
network, I would think, and that enables the button.
I can't wait to. I mean, this is interesting. Like AirPlay is one of those things that when it first came out, I said, "Oh, that's really dumb. Nobody's ever going to do that." And then I find myself using it like 2 or 3 times a day. Sometimes.
This makes the YouTube DJ that much more viable.
Norm, YouTube
YouTube
DJ is not
DJ?
happening.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I get to explain the YouTube
This
DJ.
is Norm's
concept
next career
again.
move.
This is my brilliant idea that has no practicality. When you're at a party, Jeremy,
When was I last? Yeah, all right, let me
if you're
think
in
for a
a
minute.
social gathering,
I saw you at a party last year.
Many things that occasionally pop up in conversations are things that people have seen on YouTube.
Yep.
And my concept of the YouTube DJ is someone that is aware of these conversations in some way or another and is able to throw up, like on TV,
Yeah.
for example, someone's house, an ongoing stream of YouTube videos
Uh-huh.
or online media that are socially relevant. So just as a DJ spins songs that people love, because it's like the top 40 song or whatever, and also throws the classics in from
Yep.
time to time, a YouTube DJ queues up songs and airplays or sends them somehow to a projected screen or living room TV or wherever a party's at, so people have a thing.
But you
to
could do this,
gather
right? You
around.
could have done this with AirPlay.
Oh yeah, you could do this.
So
AirPlay.
at Norm-
I've tried doing it with this AirPlay. Gary and I, before our Super Bowl, we were watching Super Bowl. We YouTube DJ battled, in which we took turns throwing YouTube
It
videos
was
up on
pretty
TV
lame.
while people waiting for the Super Bowl chatting
Yeah.
would watch the videos
Uh-huh.
or not.
So your idea is that you monitor the status of the room.
Or
and,
no,
and
you are very socially aware of what's hot and hip, so you know what people may have seen, may not have seen. You get a sense of what they're more receptive to, just as a real DJ does.
You read the room.
You read, yeah,
read the room.
yeah, read the crowd.
And probably you'd put microphones around the room and listen for keywords like keyboard cat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because
Hey,
just like at a party, people are talking, and then you mention, oh, you hear that new song, and then oh no, not really. But if you hear that song later in the party, it's like this magical moment.
Yeah.
Would you take requests?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you throw in like a classic video,
think you'd need
like
to.
a short,
Chocolate
short,
Rain.
Yeah, and then people all
Friday.
kind of there's got to be what's the journey of YouTube, right? What is the
Evolution of dance.
I don't
So
probably-
what you're
probably
saying is
not.
it's the
Charlie
evolution of
bit my
YouTube.
finger or something.
Okay.
It'll be like the closeout. Everyone leaves in this happy mood, and it's like, wow, this is a really
That's great,
fun
man.
social
And would you
event.
put music on top of it?
That's up to
See,
the
that's,
actual DJ.
up to-
Oh, so you're saying you're like an assistant to the actual DJ?
it's the
Bad
the
craziness.
V component of AV.
You know,
It's like-
the actual DJ angle, though, I thought that was a cool feature of the old Apple remote app
I missed that.
that they took out.
It's gone.
that I thought would have been great for parties. So I just don't go to them, so I don't know if it actually was.
I tried it. I tried to get people to do it at parties. No, it never worked.
Oh, that's too bad.
Never, ever,
Because
ever.
what a wonderful idea.
No, we even had open Wi-Fi at the whiskey parties where we had open Wi-Fi. We had all the music coming through an Apple TV hooked up to people's iTunes libraries, and I put up a sign that said, "Hey, if you want to control the music, sign into our Wi-Fi. It's this one,
Yeah.
and open the remote app on your iPhone."
Vote up tracks you
Nobody
like.
did
world,
it.
the world isn't ready for this idea. Just like the world wasn't ready for my app cafe, app bar idea 5 years ago.
That was a terrible idea.
6 years ago. No, really an
App
idea.
bar. So we talk about Motorola real quick
Sure, yeah.
because they're still relevant.
Well,
They
Google owns them, and they're just laying people off very slowly.
they announced a couple of new things today. 3 new phones, $99, $199, and $299. The one that's interesting to me is the Droid Max, which
That's the
is
$299 one.
The $299 one. It is 48 hours battery, which seems pretty good.
They're 720p phones.
Yeah, they seem like old
These
last
are
year's
these,
phones.
these are droids for Verizon. These are Motorola's. We need to get phones exclusive on Verizon. Milk that Droid brand for all it's worth.
Yeah.
No Razer brand, which is interesting. Even though the Ultra is supposed to be really thin. I think 7.4 millimeters.
I saw speculation that means that there's a Razer product coming later this year.
No, I think they're banning that brand. Or maybe. But I think the phone people really want from Motorola is the Moto X, which has not been announced yet, even though Eric Schmidt has been seen walking around with it. And and there have been full page advertisements for it.
Okay. They also announced a new CPU, which they're calling the Motorola 8X, meaning that it is an 8-core CPU. That is a little bit disingenuous because it is a dual-core Snapdragon with 4 GPU cores and then 2 other mystery cores that no one knows what the hell they are. One is a contextual computing core, and the other is a natural language processing core. Now, the natural language processing core presumably has something to do with speech recognition. The contextual compute core, I don't understand what that means. Those words make sense in a way that like, I'm listening to what they say, and I'm like, okay, context makes sense, and compute makes sense, and core, these are all words, but they don't go together in a way that makes sense. So
I'm just listening to you, and I'm realizing we are so deep into processor speed doesn't matter anymore. It's all about the number of cores.
It's not even that. It's that for, except for very specific workflows, compute doesn't matter anymore. It's all pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I use a 13-inch laptop as my daily work computer, and if you told me that 10 years ago, I would have punched you in the face. I video edit on this thing, and it's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't do real video editing, but I do a little bit. So that's Motorola. Those phones are out soon. They're all Verizon phones. Like Norm said, they're all Droid phones, not Razrs or Motorola's. Xbox, Microsoft leaked, maybe? There was a leak from
Somebody
Microsoft.
leaked it, yeah.
About the new Xbox self-publishing for the Xbox One. It is unclear. Like, there's a lot of questions that came out of this, but the gist is that indie developers will be able to self-publish and use Xbox Ones as dev kits, like retail Xbox Ones as dev kits.
So why not everybody? I mean, why can that just mean that any developer can use an Xbox One as a dev kit?
So I've seen there again speculation online about what this means, and some of it was from people who may or may not have been in the know because they're probably actually developing stuff for Xbox One. One of the things I saw was that the indie pub stuff is limited to the Windows portion of the Xbox One. So, you know, there's three OSs. There's the hypervisor running underneath everything, and then there's a virtualized Xbox OS, which has 100% full, you know, full capability. And then also running, there's a Windows portion of the OS where you can run things like video apps and on-demand stuff and all that. One of the pieces of speculation I saw was that this only applies to apps that run on the Windows side, not on the Xbox side.
That's speculation.
That is speculation.
That is pessimism. Right. I mean,
I would say that is
pragmatism.
People who have experience dealing with Microsoft indie development in the past. One of the other parts of this is that there will be no indie ghetto for Xbox Live indie games as there is now. So right now, if you want to find self-published games on Xbox Live to buy, you have to go like 4 menu levels deep, and they're like you have to go hunting for them to find them, and then they don't do a very good job of actually pulling out the stuff that's good. It's just the stuff that sells the most, so it's like smack boobs and It's weird stuff.
There's also the issue of we don't think that or know if they're going to open the gates to more software.
Yeah, well, no, actually that came out in Patrick's interview. Patrick Klepek at Giant Bomb did an interview. I think it was his, and it seems like they're not going to have it tied. They're not going to limit indie publishing to. So the way it works on the 360 is if you want to publish an Xbox Live Arcade game, you have to get a token to do that. Those tokens are issued to publishers who release disc-based games, and it seems like they get one token for each disc-based game, which is why there's only 150 or 200 releases of Xbox Live Arcade games a year. It seems like they're moving away from that for the One, which makes sense given the proliferation of
possibly
indie
more
games.
software.
Possibly more software. I mean, they have to be looking at what Sony's been doing in the last few months. Like, I don't know if you're a PS3/Vita guy, but if you like indie games right now, the stuff that they're rolling out on the PS3 that also plays on the Vita has been pretty rad. Like, from starting with like Thomas Was Alone and Guacamelee, Dive Kick's coming out later this month. Like, there are a ton of cross-play compatible games that you can play on your PS3 and Vita, and like. They just, like, your save games transfer, the whole thing. It, like, works as one unified platform. It's really neat. They have to be looking at that and what's going on with Steam, even though Greenlight's been kind of a clusterfuck on the Steam side from, like, a...
They're changing it.
Social perspective. Yeah, they are changing it. They're, like, the number of indie games that are releasing there and the quality of those games has gone up dramatically in the last 6 months. So, I mean, like... Microsoft was real early on that stuff with the launch of the 360.
Yeah.
And then they developed so much bad will from the development community over the last 3-4 years that I don't know that they're going to get those people back, but maybe there's a new generation of I don't think Phil Fish is going to make games for the Xbox One guys. I don't want to alarm you. But the Fez guy, he seems like he's probably not interested in working with Microsoft anymore.
Yeah, by the time he's done, it'll be next generation anyway.
It's possible.
I'm sure a lot of people know this, but just to be clear about why this is so cool, it's that development kits have in the past and even currently cost an arm and a leg.
$5,000, $10,000, $20,000.
Yes.
And actually, you're not even buying them. You're just it's just like a permanent loaner.
Yeah.
You have to give them up when you go. Like it's one of the reasons that when development studios go under, the dev kits usually walk with the people who get sacked because they take them and go make their own games.
Yeah, or put them up on eBay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know that I don't know what the dev kit situation is like on the PS4, but I know on the Wii U it's like JavaScript HTML5 development for those games, right?
For the Wii?
Have you looked at that at all?
No, I don't
the
know.
Wii U. Apple's developer portal. This is some Apple news for you.
Let's hear it.
Their developer portal has been down for a week now.
You're a developer.
I'm so glad that I've been away. Well, we're all Apple developers here, aren't we?
I'm an Apple developer.
Yeah, no.
No.
I'm an Apple developer.
I'm glad that I am not developing an app right now.
I would be super pissed.
Yeah. I mean, just to be clear, it's not like you can't keep developing if you're mid-development, but you can't add new devices. You can't create a new app.
If you didn't keep the Xcode bundle and you need to put on a new machine,
right.
you're boned.
It's not good news. And I guess they've set up a portal where you can see their progress to putting it all back online.
Yeah, so it seems like there was an exploit that involved the iAds implementation. More good news out of iAds, guys.
Hey, the Toy Story 3 ad. Movie looks great.
And yeah, they've had to re-architect the entire thing from scratch, which is going to take a little while. This is a real bad time for their dev portal to be done, because that means they can't even roll out like new betas of iOS or Mavericks, both of which are deep in the development process now. If they don't get this fixed quickly, it could conceivably mess up their entire launch for both of those platforms. Because I mean, I don't know how much you've used of iOS 7 at this point, but like people are going to have to do some not massive amounts of work, but there is a fair amount of work that has to be done on almost every single app I use to at least make it use the new keyboards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not to mention fixing the Chrome to make it look more.
You still
iOS
got beta
7 and
3,
all that
right?
stuff.
I mean, you still got enough that you can keep working a little bit. We just won't see the improvements.
Yes, that is true.
And there was never a release date for iOS 7, was there?
Fall.
Well, it'll be when they launch the new phones.
The new phone, which is
So-
unknown. September, we think, maybe.
And potentially new iPads too.
Yeah.
Probably no new iPads this year.
Yeah, an updated mini, I bet.
There'll be an updated mini.
This year?
Yeah.
I thought,
Not Retina, but I bet there'll be an updated one.
What would
My
they do an
money is
update?
on
What
update.
would they
remember,
do?
It's an iPad 2, the mini.
I know, but what to bump in the processor and that's it?
Bump processor. I mean, if they
Processor,
bump processor, they
RAM?
might as well do a bigger screen though.
But they're not going to do a bigger screen this year, is what the
Right.
rumors, the supply chain says,
This is
because
all
it's too
speculation.
expensive.
Yeah.
I would love for them to do the Retina screen.
Oh my
and
God,
faster
I would
processor
be
this
so
year.
happy.
No, I'm
Mini
waiting for
Retina.
Retina. I'll
Yeah.
wait till next year.
Well, you didn't wait because you bought one.
I'm waiting. If they release an update,
You both bought one.
just like I
bought it on launch
I
day.
didn't buy the iPad 3.1. You know, the
4.
The 4.
No, I didn't buy the 4. The
Which-
one they called the 4.
The
I
new
didn't-
iPad?
No, God,
Yeah,
no.
I did
I'm
not.
with the 3. I'm super
I
happy
did not
with
buy
it.
the newer new iPad. I stayed with the new iPad.
So the 4 is still the newest
I'm waiting
full
for the
iPad
newest.
that you can buy.
The what?
The 4?
Yeah, it's a year old now almost.
Yeah, the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Geez, so
telling you.
they're due for. I think they're going to be no new mini this year. What there will be is a new full size that will be thinner, and
That would be nice.
that's what will happen. That they can fit the battery in and still charge $500.
I'm not worried about this developer thing. They're going to lick that in a couple weeks. I mean, it's good. They jumped on this better than a lot of companies would have. I mean, it's not.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. I mean,
the people have been complaining about the bug that is theoretically the one that's exploited here.
I thought he reported it the day before.
I thought
took
there
it
was a
down.
guy that reported it a month ago.
Oh, I didn't read that. Okay.
It's
You chose not to read it.
Apple's
It wasn't on my blogs.
Apple's not good about security stuff, although they're getting better, I guess is what we can say. Because 2 years ago, they would have just been like, no, nothing, everything's fine. It's cool. Don't worry about it. And then all of your stuff would have gotten stolen. The status update page says that right now, the things that are still working are iTunes Connect and the bug reporter. And then there's like 16 other things that aren't working. So, bad news. Let's talk about the Leap Motion controller because it's out now.
I want one.
Did you order one of these, Jeremy?
I did. I was like, day one, and then I saw all the footage, and it finally came out, and my credit card has since changed expiration dates.
Oh no!
So I didn't. They want to still sell it to me, but they need my new number.
Are
And
you gonna-
I'm not sure I want it anymore.
Can I buy it for? Well,
I'll buy it from you right now.
Oh, really? Because I can get one. It'll be shipped tomorrow.
let's do it.
All right, sold.
Making deals. We want one for a review.
Yeah,
Actually, give me 24 hours. Anybody out there who wants one?
Nope.
Make you an offer.
Too late. This isn't live. Cutting that out. Taking it out of the show.
Explain what Leap Motion is.
So Leap Motion is a box that sits underneath your monitor and lets you minority report your computer.
How big's the
Yeah.
box?
It looks like the size of
Tiny.
a
That's what it's saying.
iPad.
Yeah, like your phone.
Yeah.
And it's cheap. It's like,
It's $79.
and
or
it's
something.
all like infrared.
It's very. The sensors are not the fancy part. What they're selling is the software.
Yeah.
But it is very low latency. I mean, it's pretty cool.
So I'm interested in what the CPU consumes on that,
yeah.
and whether it scales so it's less accurate if you're using less draw.
My thing is there's not enough. There's no killer app for me. I mean, I don't need to play.
But I think you're the person. You're the perfect person to develop on this, because the people who got the early Leap Motions, like they got them months ago, they've been creating really cool stuff with it.
yeah,
Like really fun, like theremins, and
yeah, fun toys, but it's such a small audience. I don't know. I mean, it's
it's $70.
What it's gonna, and I think that they're great. I think if I were to have made this company, I would have been so proud of myself. They have found a niche. It's cool stuff. But personally, I just feel like it lacks haptic feedback. I mean, it lacks anything and that you can feel.
Like
So
even
when you need
touching
a
the
little
surface of the
fan,
monitor.
you need
So-
a fan like to throw air at you when you're like for
I think
resistance,
that's depressing how far we are from something that's actually
Now,
gonna be
you want
cool.
you want to wear have basically we want to embed metal in our fingers and have magnetic fields so you feel pressure.
That would be
Wait,
cool.
Yeah, that's what I think that this Leap Motion thing, Oculus Rift, the Razer wands, what are they called?
Hydra.
Yeah. I mean, all that stuff is just telling me we need the other direction. We need the feedback coming the other direction so we can feel the stuff that's in these other.
So you want the
Next.
Novant Falcon?
And so that's what I want. I mean, that's going to be the peripheral that I dive on. I
Leap
can't wait
Motion plus Kinect plus Oculus is a perfect combination.
What
to
about
put
that
yourself in the
treadmill?
game visually? Yeah.
We ordered one
We
of
have
those.
one
That
coming,
looks
right?
very uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
you're against your waist. You're just kind of like.
It reminds me
Love
of
it. My favorite GIF this year is from their Kickstarter, because the Kickstarter has like like Battlefield music. Like it starts off, the video starts off like lock and load, like close up, like strapping in, and then it cuts to the full wide shot, and it's a dude
Yeah.
running on it.
Yeah.
And it looks so silly.
Yeah.
I think the next step from your YouTube DJ is just a GIF DJ.
Some BuzzFeed
Just
does
just
that, or
running
Mashable
GIFs
does
in the
that
background all the time.
already.
Nothing but GIFs.
GIFs are like the sound clips for a YouTube DJ, or like the sound bites.
Yeah, it's like the interstitial between the videos.
It's like you throw it in like a little wicka wicka.
So yeah, the reviews on the early reviews on the Leap Motion thing are kind of mixed. I've actually ordered one. I have one coming, I think.
Is it a mixed bag?
I did not say it was a mixed bag. I said they are fairly mixed. Some people like it, some people don't.
Really?
I know, it's shocking.
know.
Well, usually
Wow.
everybody either likes it or everybody doesn't. It's crazy. The complaint seems to be that it's a little wonky. The main complaint.
In what way?
I just got to the point where the guy said, "This is a mixed bag," and I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to read this one anymore."
I can imagine there's a field that works in a box of space in front of you, and you don't see where the barriers are. So you're within it, and you leave it, but you didn't know you were going to.
You know what it reminds me of in theory, and I hesitate to even bring this up. But do you remember the old NES peripheral, the U-Force?
The U-Force.
No.
So the U-Force.
I remember
was,
the glove.
So the Power Glove and the U-Force came out at the same time, and I went
Power
to
Glove got to be in the movie.
I went to Hills, which was our local Walmart, Kmart, before Walmart destroyed all the rest of those, and I had money to buy one thing, and the Power Glove and the U-Force cost the same amount of money.
You chose poorly.
Hold on.
Oh, no.
But the U-Force worked with every single game, and it had
Power Glove didn't.
No, Power Glove only worked with specific games.
But
So
wasn't it just like a
nope, didn't
NES
work.
controller just slapped onto a glove?
did not work because no, you could move your fingers.
Not really.
Did you ever use it?
No.
You could grab stuff. Like the whole game was moving it in space and catching stuff. It was like Space Harrier or something, right?
Okay. all right.
So the U-Force looked like a laptop. You opened it up, it stood in a square, and then there were infrared sensors on the outside edges on the top and the bottom. So where your hand blocked the infrared reflection, it would return a signal. And there were a handful of games that actually supported it, but it worked with everything. So you could play, for example, Top Gun. Like you flip some dip switches or something to set it into flight yoke mode, and then you could like go left by
You're a
moving
dip
one
switch.
hand. Yeah, thank you. Way to go, Matt.
I was debating.
Wow, that was so slow.
I was thinking, what should I do it? And then I did it.
This is everything I dreamed. And then to shoot, you flipped your hand down, so you'd go like this, and it was like. Then I came of age in the late 90s when PC gaming peripherals hit both an all-time high and an all-time low simultaneously. But this really set the bar for shitty peripherals.
This was like mid-'80s, right?
Probably
late
89,
late 80s,
maybe
late
90.
What was the ideal game for this U-Force?
I don't think that there was one.
No, what was the game
probably.
that someone designed for it?
I don't think that there was one. Probably. This is why you should never go to the store and decide what you're going to buy at the store if you're 8 years old or 10 years old.
With the Leap Motion, and it's built into some laptops now. They have a partnership. I forget with it's not Lenovo. It's Lenovo or Fujitsu, one of those companies. I think it is if it could be run in the background, relatively low CPU, and it is just an option to use it as not as a replacement for any interface, just like touch, and for desktops, touch screens on desktops is something I don't think is going to work. Like laptops, I want it. The desktop's monitors, you're supposed to have it,
Agreed.
Far away, a foot away, 18 inches away from your eyes. You're not going to want to reach out. But if it's just right in front, by your keyboard, or having a Leap Motion built into your keyboard, so you can, do a quick gesture, a program gesture, and have it accurately do something, would be cool.
I don't know. The only interesting interface right now
Would be useful.
The most interesting interface is voice, and I think Google's going the right direction with that. They got it when they're going to announce
For mobile, but that's for mobile.
No, not just. They're doing the OK Google thing for Chrome.
I understand it's coming out, but it's the usefulness for voice.
If you have a good
happens in
keyboard,
mobile.
if you have a good keyboard
Yeah.
attached to it, I can type whatever I want to find much faster than I can say it.
And
more
more
precisely.
accurately, because
Yeah.
when you say stuff, if you're talking about anything more than a sentence, your voice is not going to be as accurate as what you want
I
to
don't
get
know.
on
If
the
I'm
keyboard.
doing a quick Google search and I'm just in the
That's
kitchen.
that's again the quick Google
So
search.
it's a Star Trek
That's one
computer.
sentence.
Whoever does the Star Trek computer
that's
first.
a mobile situation. That's not a desktop situation.
Well, then I guess in the Star Trek universe, everything's mobile.
I want it in my house.
But
Jerry's
that's why you
right.
never saw
I
anyone
wanna
in front of
say-
laptops. And when they were in front of laptops,
Yeah.
guess what? They were either voice
Yeah.
chatting with someone
data.
or typing.
My favorite
Exactly.
thing about the glass is like I have the kid in one hand and I have something else and I need to Google like whether I can actually do whatever it is I'm about to do to
Yeah.
the child. Is this safe? Can you give the child grapes at this age? I don't know. They seem like they'd get lodged,
Tilt up.
but who knows? Okay, glass.
Pew pew
Yeah,
pew.
or you just
Hear me now. Hear me now.
the U-Force was made by Broderbund, and here's the advertising
That's why they
copy for
failed.
it. Do you want to know? Introducing U-Force, the revolutionary controller for your Nintendo Entertainment System. So hot, no one can touch it. Now you can feel the power without touching a thing. It's U-Force from Broderbund, the first and only video game controller that, without touching anything, electronically senses your every move and reacts. There's nothing to hold, nothing to jump on, nothing to wear. U-Force creates a power field that responds to your every command, making you the controller. It's the most amazing accessory in video game history, and it will change the way you play video games forever. It's the challenge of the future. U-Force.
Take
now
that copy.
nothing comes between you and the game. Switch it out with Kinect.
No,
it's
switch,
the same
no,
thing.
switch out with Leap
Kinect.
Motion or Kinect.
Kinect.
Yeah, it's so
Listen,
hot.
listen. Introducing Kinect, the revolutionary controller for your Xbox Entertainment System. So hot, no one can touch it. Now you can feel the power without touching a thing. It's Xbox from Microsoft. Kinect from Microsoft. The first and only video game controller that, without touching anything, electronically senses your every move and reacts. There's nothing to hold, nothing to jump on, nothing to wear. Kinect key creates a power field that responds to your every command, making you the controller. It's the most amazing accessory in video game history, and it will change the way you play video games forever. It's the challenge of the future. Kinect. Now nothing comes between you and the game. Patent pending. Trademark Microsoft Corporation of America. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. It's the same thing.
That's so funny.
Fucking Broderbund.
I loved Broderbund. They were
Me
responsible
too.
for Karateka
Yeah, and Carmen Sandiego, right?
and Ancient Art of War.
I never played any Star. Was that like an early strategy game?
It was the first real-time strategy.
Did they publish one of those submarine games?
I don't know.
I used to play Wolfpack, I think, on like a 286. And that was an amazing game.
That sounds right.
Yeah. I learned about torpedo spreads. It was real important seminal knowledge. Haswell, Intel unveiled a version of Haswell for thin fanless tablets. It's a 4.5 watt. They don't call it TDP though. They call it SDP or something like that.
Something like that.
The idea is that it can operate at without needing a fan and can crank up for short periods of time if it needs it. But for the most part, it just doesn't get warm.
Yeah,
Seems good.
Seems good. Not for gaming.
Flipboard magazines, which I don't know if we talked about this.
Do people use Flipboard?
I
You guys use Flipboard?
used to.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
really pretty,
Not anymore.
but yeah.
It used to be like the way I read stuff on Saturday morning or Sunday morning. Like I'd get coffee, I'd sit on the back porch.
It was the darling app. I mean, everybody liked that app.
I like
It
that.
was easy to like because it was so pretty. And it was a fancy RSS reader.
But it wasn't RSS. It was just pulling stuff from social usually.
I thought it
No,
was
it was,
RSS.
it was both.
I guess it did. Yeah, it'll pull your
It was
feed,
RSS
your Google
and then
Reader
also-
feeds
yeah.
as well. Yeah. They let people use Flipboard, like Flipboard.
I don't
online
know
a while
if
ago.
people really want to use that as a way to consume on a big screen.
I had a Flipboard magazine for a little bit, and after doing it for a month, I had 35 subscribers or something, so I pulled the plug. It was too much
It's
work.
much like real magazines.
Yeah.
35 subscribers not going
sick
to
burn.
no, and 35 subscribers not going to cut it.
It's not worth the time. Google is donating $600,000 to bring free Wi-Fi to 31 San Francisco parks.
There's a list of those parks now.
on
online.
SF Gate, I think, right?
Yeah.
Is it the Premier Park in San Francisco?
Golden Gate Park? What are you talking about?
The Hetchy.
No, it's not going to be
Actually,
out. That's
it's
you mean the flagship?
Yeah, the flagship.
No, it's not. I don't doubt it's going to be out there. I didn't see it on the list, but it is going to be on the park near me, which is good. And Mission Dolores Park. It's going to be all over the place. It's pretty cool.
More staring at
What
phones.
I don't know. I mean, you can actually do work there. I mean, instead of going to Starbucks, you can now go out to a park. I mean,
and take up more battery because you need a brighter LCD
Full
outside.
brightness. Yeah.
well, yeah, but with you don't care. You got
Yes, yeah.
6 hours in there
All
at
the
least.
battery
at a park.
needs.
But the thing is, what does this mean? My mind goes directly to infrastructure and security. Are there going to be a bunch of antennas around these parks now? And are we all going to be on the same land with all these other?
I gotta imagine that they
Clowns.
So
segment
much
them.
sniffing. Let the dog sniff the hoop and people
Yeah.
sniff the IDs.
You know, I've started seeing public Wi-Fi that you sign up for an open access point, and then it says, "Do you want to switch to our closed access point? Here's the information." So then at least you get WPA protected Wi-Fi rather than just pure open, sniffable, easily sniffable.
That's an encrypted.
It's WPA. I mean, still, once you're on the LAN, then you have access to everybody else's stuff. Although
That's the question.
the people who run those routers, you can segment out each individual connection.
Oh yeah.
So you can make it so that you can't sniff across. It's like that is a choice that's set up by the router, and I gotta imagine when you do public Wi-Fi at this point, that you segment out individual.
Well, that's good to know.
individual subnets.
Okay.
I mean, maybe not. I don't know. The other thing is, a lot of the public web is now SSL encrypted. So, like, if you're going to Twitter or Facebook or something like that, even stuff that you wouldn't think necessarily is SSL encrypted, like Gmail, all of the stuff that has private information is SSL for the most part. It's only content stuff like tested and
Yeah, it's
sites
my
like
actual
that that
machine.
are-
Like not even what I'm transmitting that I'm worried about. It's access to my open ports and my folders that I might be sharing.
Oh, then you should set up a firewall.
Yeah,
You should have the firewall on.
that's
if you're
smart.
working on a
But
public
you know,
network.
people aren't going to do that.
Well, that's true. People are dumb.
Yeah.
The UK's
Speaking
porn,
of people who are dumb.
Yeah, speaking of dumb stuff, the UK's porn filtering initiative started this week. Is this just when they started collecting opt-ins? But the idea is that there is a nationwide mandate that ISPs have to offer either unfiltered raw internet or filtered no porn internet.
Because politicians understand how the internet works. I want to know if you live in the UK, I know we do have listeners there, how this affects you and what the implementation has been like.
The one thing that I saw that was best, it seems like the implementation required that, at least my limited understanding based on reading one article off of Reddit, is that...
Wow. You should just stop there.
is that
You-
is that the ISPs have to offer the choice. The article that I saw on Reddit basically said, here, my ISP offered this as the choice. Maybe this was a Charles Strosling, I can't remember. But the choice was, I want to have raw internet, and they took you through the normal sign up. Or I
Raw
want to
internet.
have I want to have filtered internet. And then it said, no, we're sorry, we can't offer you this service. You'll have to go someplace else. So it seems like a typical example of politicians not understanding how the internet works. A lot of stuff's filtered. Like, we've been filtered. Tested has been filtered for content before.
Has it been filtered or just not whitelisted?
Both. Well, we're definitely not whitelisted, but we've also been filtered.
Really? Blacklisted?
Blacklisted for, I can't remember. It was video game stuff one time. The time we had the spam attack and there was a bunch of porn on the site was the other time. It happens to sites that should not be filtered, like Tested. NVIDIA Shield's finally out again. They were originally scheduled to launch, I think, the beginning of July or end of June, and they had to delay. It's now going to ship on July 31st. They had to change stuff because of a hardware fault that they discovered at the last minute. The Oculus VR Jam contest is announced, and there's a $10,000 grand prize. I didn't know about this.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. Oculus just sent out an email 2 days ago to its Kickstarter.
Oculus,
Oculus VR.
The Rift people.
Yeah, and they led off with we play almost every demo that is uploaded or mentioned on our forums, and we think there's a lot of interesting creativity going on. But recently, we've noticed a trend of old games being retro converted to add Oculus support, and they don't like that. They like the original stuff. So with that, they have, I guess, partnered with an independent games festival, Indiecade. Does that sound right?
They do a thing in LA and Santa Monica.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they have contributed, I read, $50,000 to the prize pool, and there's going to be a 3-week competition starting in about. That's the part that struck me, was that it starts a week and a half after they sent this email out, so there's really no time to prepare. I'm going to be away that week, so I'm not competing, but it's pretty cool. I mean, there's going to be a week to develop your concept, another week to show video of your prototype, and then another week or week and a half for final submission.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
game jams are fun. Like it wasn't something I was really aware of until I think the first Molly Jam last year, which Chris Remo and Patrick Klepek and a couple people from Double Fine put together, I think. But it's just the idea of coming together and making teams and coming up with some game concepts and making stuff that in a short time period.
Yeah, it's that
really
short time period that is interesting, because there's a clear limit and it can't be too big of a concept.
Well, and it's interesting because I know that some actual real game developers use that as like a prototyping phase.
Yeah.
Now, Double Fine has famously done that.
I was going to say.
But I also hear about other studios that have done similar stuff. So I think Double Fine just takes like what they call it amnesia fortnight, where they stop working on whatever it is they're working on, and then break up into 4 or 5 or 6 teams and build like 2-week prototypes. Because I guess a fortnight is 2 weeks.
That's what I read.
Yeah. Internet. Did you guys see the Gravity trailer?
Yeah, all 3 of them.
Have you not seen it?
No.
Oh, you should watch the Gravity trailer.
I will.
It's really good.
So,
Norm, did you like the Gravity trailer?
I think the ragdolling stuff looked a little too fake.
I thought that the way they moved in
CG.
space was a little bit fake. I mean, I know that they have to do that because if they took 22 minutes to traverse a boom, it would be a real bummer of a movie.
Yeah, it seemed.
Clooney is a fucking
The acting
astronaut
stuff is great,
jetpack virtuoso, though.
but I think the CG, the motion looked a little too fake. I don't know if it's because it's intentionally done that way because it's 0G, but it's not even about like momentum. It's just about like the movements.
Did they shoot that in the vomit?
It's like all those zombies piling up in that recent movie.
World War Z?
Yeah, where they're all running up the wall. That just looks completely computer generated.
Apparently, that movie was good.
Yeah,
Really?
I didn't see it, but no, the computer graphics. They were supposed to be,
I like the book.
procedurally generated animation and everything. I thought it, cool concept, but it looked fake.
Was it massive?
Don't know.
Okay.
I like the book.
Nothing like the book.
It's Max Brooks's. It's Mel Brooks's kid wrote the book.
No kidding.
Mel
I
Brooks and
didn't know
Anne
Max
Bancroft.
Brooks.
It's Max Brooks.
Was Mel Brooks' kid? Cool.
Yeah, he wrote that and the Zombie Survival Guide and
I
something
know,
else.
yeah. He liked the movie.
I thought the book was good. I'll watch the movie when it's out on DVD or something, or Apple TV, whatever.
The movie is supposed to be nothing like.
The book was unfilmable because the book is a series of vignettes that are the oral history of the CDC guy who had to figure out the outbreak of. Like, they took the character from the book and made a movie that tells a story that's intelligible as a movie. I mean, I don't have any beef with that. The last thing I saw on Gizmodo this morning that Monopoly is removing jail from the new version of Monopoly. So there's this thing called Monopoly Empire, where you buy brands instead of property. And they're going to take the jail out of that because apparently it's impossible to jail criminals in the 21st century. Thanks, Wall
Is that
Street.
the reason?
No, I think they just said it made the game too slow.
Okay.
But the real reason the game is too slow, and I saw this on Dan Amrich's blog the other day, the real reason the game is too slow is because everybody plays with bullshit house rules.
Well, the rules that people think are the real rules
There's an oral history.
Are the bullshit house rules.
What's an example of a bullshit house rule?
You know how when you land on a piece of property, and say you land on Park Place, and you only have $250, not the $350 required to purchase it. At that point, what do you do in your game of Monopoly?
You can foreclose some other homes if you want to.
That is a thing you could do. But what if you don't want to do that?
Can I borrow
you
from
mortgage
Norm?
other homes. You cannot borrow from Norm.
I can't?
No.
Okay.
He gives terrible terms. You'll end up kneecapped.
I'm out of
3
luck. I
hours
can't
later.
buy it.
Right. So then what happens when you can't buy it?
Oh, another player has the opportunity to.
There's an auction, which all players, including the
right.
player who passed on, can participate in. However, no one plays with that rule.
No, they just pass by.
They just pass by and somebody has to land on it again. So what happens is instead of taking like 3 or maybe 4 laps to theoretically purchase almost all of the property, it takes 10 or 12 laps, and you're looking at like a 90-minute setup
Is this
phase for that game.
because of the early computer versions of the game that didn't have that rule?
It's possible. I don't know.
Because those games also took a long time to play.
Before I played the computer versions, that was the way. We always played without auctions because I think it might have been too complex for the age kids that were playing that were playing that game. And as a result, I have not played Monopoly right for my entire life. That blew my mind that you're supposed to do auctions.
It's a story that's come up, every
It does
2
come up
years. It's just
occasionally.
like, by the way, here's a reminder:
Does
we're all
it?
playing Monopoly wrong. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've only played it on the iPad in the past 10 years, and
How was it?
it
Take a long time?
has that rule. No, it's great. It's so much faster because you don't have to deal with all the setup and the money changing hands, and it has the auction built into it.
Yeah.
It's good. AirPlay it onto the TV.
Okay.
It's the way to do it.
Okay. We played. I want to say that we played Scrabble one time, Gary and Leah and my wife and me, and we did it with the iPad in the middle of the table as the board, and everybody's using their phones as the tile trays.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's
yeah.
the worst experience of my life.
Oh, really?
It was
a clever concept.
It kept crashing,
Oh.
and then you lost your game like 3 times. And
Oh,
by the end,
no.
Gary was so upset that he just was like, "I'm gonna go play Xbox games instead." I'll
They
see you
should
guys
make a
later."
physical board game version.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's and call it Words with Friends.
But not Kickstarter it and start a company in
Yeah.
Portland. That would not. Be
oh,
a good
too
idea.
soon, man. That was.
What do you mean
that's
too?
not-
And also, why too soon?
It's,
Dude,
a lot of people lost their.
yeah, they should be pissed off about that.
They are pissed off about
Good.
it. We didn't talk about that, but a guy who, a team of 3 guys who kickstarted a board game.
Team of one guy.
No, 3
Cool.
guys. There were designers and
Yeah.
artists, and then
Designers
and
didn't
then
get any
biz
money.
guy. And he kickstarted a board game and raised like $130,000. And this was last June, I think, June 2011, June 2012. June
The board game
2012.
was like Monopoly,
It was a Monopoly-esque board game.
but it was like Cthulhu themed.
Yes. And it was kind of an expensive Kickstarter. They're like the game was $75 or something like that.
Because it supposedly had great little figurines.
And it seems like the guy might have either squandered the money or taken it and run.
Completely permissible by Kickstarter's rules and regulations.
Not really.
It is.
It is.
They bear no responsibility.
No, they bear no responsibility, but it does say you're supposed to
Yeah,
provide. The
I'm just
goods
saying
or services.
Kickstarter's not liable.
Okay, Kickstarter can't be liable. That wouldn't work if Kickstarter's liable. Kickstarter would not work if Kickstarter was liable.
So a risk you take if you back something.
Of course, and we've discussed that at length. But yeah, so people are super upset, and I think rightly so. He's saying he's going to get a job. Apparently, he quit his job to make this board game.
Apparently, he's had a history of doing this.
and has a history of
one
getting
of his former
projects.
employers, or people who worked with him, said that he got investment for another company and also
man.
spot stuff on Amazon.
That pisses me off. Not. I mean, if I was one of the guys who had my money taken, I'd be pissed off. But it pisses me off that sullying the name of Kickstarter, giving it a bad reputation.
Yeah.
More of this. is
Well,
gonna-
also the designers
sucks.
who partnered with this person to release a game that they've been working on for almost a decade. They have nothing to show for it. They can't do their own Kickstarter, and they're going to release the game for free as a print and play.
The worst comment I went through a few pages back in the comment thread because it was real up and down. Like there were some people that were kind of understanding, like, well, we knew our chances with Kickstarter, But the worst one was the guy who said, "Look, I've funded like 65 things, and up until this point, I was able to say I hadn't gotten burned yet, and that makes me really sad." So yeah, And then that made me go back and look at my Kickstarter history to see what the oldest thing is that hasn't been funded yet, that hasn't been fulfilled yet. And I think mine was the Settlers of Catan board from last June. The frame for the Catan tiles, which they're now shipping. Like they're shipping starting this week. So I was excited.
Indie Game the movie had just shipped the special edition this week.
The Blu-ray.
So I am now finally fulfilled.
Wow.
My backing.
It's funny. I bought I backed the digital, or I bought the digital version. I didn't even back it.
That took a long time.
Yeah.
You may have at some point the success of that project just like pushed everything back.
Well, they said that they've been working nonstop on this special edition for the past year.
Have you downloaded it from Steam yet?
Really?
No.
I downloaded
got
it yesterday. It's like there is a lot of extra stuff on the. There are like 12 or 13 extra like epilogues, and there's
Right, because
features.
they originally shot it to profile more than just the two
Yeah,
teams.
so like the
But
Spelunky.
they shot more for this too.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Spelunky guys are there. Like the Spelunk. There's a whole segment about Spelunky that I haven't watched yet.
Did you watch to see if you were in it more?
Oh no, I'm not. I would have heard by now.
What was your line? What you said something.
I had the climax of the film.
I remember. What was it?
When you finish this, are you going to feel a sense of relief or profound disappointment?
Yeah.
Say the line,
And then
Will. Say the
cut
line.
to Edward McMillan. He's like, oh, it's really good. It was a
Say
good
the
moment.
line.
I just did.
I love that.
I was really pleased with
I saw it
myself.
with you guys in the theater. and
Yeah.
Accidentally clever.
I was so starstruck by you.
I was shocked. I had no idea. Somebody
That was him?
somebody on Twitter was like, "Hey, you're in the movie."
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm sure. And yeah, it was good. My wife was really impressed. It's one of the few times my career has ever impressed her. So, and completely accidentally clever. It was just a good pull on their part. Because we said a lot of really dumb stuff in that same exact video.
So what is the Steam one an executable?
Yeah, so it's depending on what you download it on. If you download it from Mac, it's a normal app package, and then you can open up the package and pull the movie out if you want. But it's just like an MP4.
Oh.
It's like an HD MP4
So it's
inside
linear.
the movie.
It's linear. There's no menus.
No, if you open the executable, then there's menus.
Oh, okay.
So it has like, what do you want? Do you want to watch the film? Do you want to watch the commentary? Do you want to do this?
Cool.
Do you want to have there's a Team Meat commentary on a lot of the new stuff apparently. Those MP3s are just loose in the folder, so you can grab them if you want.
Huh.
I don't know what it looks like on Windows because I downloaded it on my MacBook. But yeah, I really like that movie a lot. I thought
Me
it was good.
too. Soundtrack's excellent.
The soundtrack, Jim Guthrie is the bomb.
Yes.
He released a studio album earlier this year that's quite good too.
Yeah, and then he released an instrumental version of it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's good.
Yeah. I've been listening to the Disaster Piece Fez remixes lately.
I haven't heard that.
So the FZ and I can't remember what it is, but yeah, they're good. You should listen to them. I guess that's it for news. Anything else? Did we miss anything? I feel like we've been going for a long time here. Let's play some music. Jeremy Williams,
Hi.
you're here. You have been working on some stuff. We're not going to talk about all of it, I know.
Great.
But you showed us your Pixel box a few months ago now, I guess. Norm called it the Grid.
Yep.
Select the
And
name.
you've been working on that more.
Yep. Yeah. Well, because of you and your listeners and viewers.
Okay.
It was a fun project. I thought it was gonna be a one-off thing, and I showed it to you guys, and your audience liked it so much, and they suggested I try to put it on Kickstarter. So
Speaking of Kickstarter,
I couldn't do that because we didn't talk about the cost of that one. I think if we had, none of those people would have piped up, because that one cost about $400.
not counting labor.
Right, and there was a lot of labor. So that's been a project of mine, is to try to scale that down, and I've scaled it way down. I'm still working out all of the parts, but it's been a lot of fun, and it's the exact same LEDs, only it's a tighter array. So we call it the Retina Pixel box.
Tight array meaning the
The
actual
pixel
physical
density.
Pixels are smaller.
They're
pixel
33%
density is
smaller.
higher.
Right, the pixels are now about a centimeter wide instead of maybe 3 times that.
Oh.
And it's now Arduino based. It has buttons on it to control, and it's pretty tight. It's pretty
What
cool.
distance you have to view that pixel box before you can no longer distinguish the pixels?
Pretty far.
We can find out.
Yeah.
It has a battery pack.
This is the Kickstarter video.
So
We started with the Kickstarter it's good.
So anyway, thank you to your listeners and viewers for all the support on that, and I hope to have something
Not ready to show right now, but
right
in hopefully near future.
near future.
But as a result of working on this and switching from Raspberry Pi to Arduino, you worked on coding. You wrote code.
In the segments I recorded with you, I was always so clear and adamant that I'm not a programmer, and I surprised myself. I thought I would need help on it, and I sat down and I just sort of plowed through it. And Arduino is such a great community to learn this in, because there are not only is there a huge community ready to pipe in and help you if you have a question, but there's so much example code out there, because you can't compile Arduino executables, libraries,
Right.
whatever. It's all source code. And so you just go out there and you just read and you find examples and you just figure things out and tweak it.
Well, the neat thing is like the people who sell the parts and the different components you use usually have some sort of sample code. So like Adafruit or SparkFun or whoever's selling it. And then also the people who've done projects. There's these massive libraries of Arduino projects. So if you want a timer, or if you want a light control, or if you want something that modulates a stepper motor or something like that, then there's that stuff's everywhere. And you can find it, and if you know the basics of the electronic stuff, it's much easier to do than I ever thought was possible.
True. I mean, Adafruit deserves so much credit for the amount of free material they have put out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're a business. They're trying to sell equipment just like SparkFun is, and a few other people. But my goodness, they are so generous with their code. So thank you to them.
Yeah. So we'll have more of that when you get a little closer.
Great.
Anything else? We talked about going to camp.
No,
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Norm, what have you been testing?
The HTC One.
The
Which is right
HTC One is a phone. It looks like an iPhone. It's a little fat.
Doesn't look like an iPhone.
It's white. My iPhone looks like that.
No, my iPhone doesn't look like this at all.
Okay.
Has Beats audio.
That sounds like a minus so far.
No, that's audio is actually much louder on this than it is on the
Oh,
iPhone.
that's Beats for the speakers? I thought it was for the audio chip for the headphones.
It's both.
No, it's for both. And there's actually a toggle in the settings that can turn Beats on and off. I don't know why they even
Are
give
these
you that.
speakers really?
Well, the Beats is the
We can
Beats.
give you we can
Does
give
it sound
demo.
okay?
It sounds loud.
No way.
the
Yes. Well, iPhone, even though it has all the grills on the bottom,
Yep.
sound only comes out on the left side.
Yeah, I know.
If you block it,
Not the mini though.
well, the microphone's on the other side.
I don't
No, he's
think-
right. No, Mike's over.
There's three microphones on the iPhone.
Oh well,
One on the front, one on the back, and
this
one on the bottom.
this one's actually pretty loud.
Stereo.
It's stereo because it comes at top and bottom.
Wow.
You can hold up in front.
It's kind of transistor radio-y. Except I guess those were all mono.
Let me see if I. This is loud.
Don't put anything copyrighted.
Yeah. That's,
And then the Beats, but the Beats is just like audio. It's like the bass boost button, right?
that's pretty good.
It's
not
pretty
bad.
good.
No, the best thing about this is the screen. It's a
It's-
1080p screen,
It's IPS.
IPS LCD with a RGB arrangement.
Is it the same as the one in the One X? Or
No.
similar? Oh, it's a higher resolution,
high
obviously.
resolution? Yeah.
But like it looks
Optical
close to
bonding.
the surface.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
optical bonding.
That was the thing that struck me about the last year's HTC phone is that the screen it looked like it was just underneath the glass instead of sunk down in it, which is pretty stunning when you look at it.
And the battery life's been great.
But this is you used a Nexus 4 for a little bit earlier this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling about the one?
It has LTE, which Nexus 4 did not have.
Okay.
It's thinner than Nexus 4. I like the curve on the bottom. The aluminum back is much better than the glass back.
Okay.
It's
On your iPhone.
No, on the Nexus 4.
Oh, the Nexus 4 is a glass back too?
It cracked very
Okay.
frequently for a lot of people. The white bands here have been blued a little bit just from being in jeans. So
Are those the radio transparency or something, or are they just for style?
I think it's radio.
Okay.
And the camera has not been very impressive.
The back camera or the front camera?
Back camera.
It's interesting because last year's camera was pretty good, but it had that nubbin on the back that hung off.
I'm just maybe it's because I'm not very impressed with smartphone cameras. Period.
So
now.
more. Oh.
But no, even it could be even compared to the iPhone. I just like the iPhone camera better.
So, how are you? The bigger question is like the phone's great. How is this switch to Android for you? What's your feeling?
It does, I mean,
Like, are you
I'm very comfortable with Android.
okay?
Are
Are you going to stay?
I don't know.
Like, what do you like? What do you not like?
I don't like.
Pulling teeth here.
I like. I'm thinking about. I like the like on the Nexus 4. I mean, everything I like about Android and Nexus 4, I like here. So
Okay.
widgets, lock screen widgets, calendars at a glance. As someone who checks his phone many times a day,
Pretty obsessively.
having lock screen widgets is great for calendar stuff. Having home screen widgets for mail is great for mail for having multiple accounts. I have different widgets for different accounts.
Okay. And you actually use the widgets?
I actually use the widgets
Okay.
as a way to get into the mail or to look at my most recent messages. Notification bar is so much better here than it is on iPhone, mostly because of the icons on top. So when you get a notification on the iPhone, you have to pull it down to see that you have a notification. Here, because the icons stack up, as you get more notifications, you are kind of required to pull down, see your notifications. You can get emails, summaries in your notifications, delete from your notification bar. Love that. I mean, it's on all Android devices. I love the green LED on the grill. It's like the BlackBerry.
Lets you know that you have a new message?
When it pops green.
What do you use your green LED for?
For mail.
Just for mail?
Mail, yeah.
Okay.
How much of a deterrent to switching would the fact that you already have so much invested in Apple apps be?
Apple apps?
Yeah. Or
Not
everything that's on your phone.
I think the biggest thing was contacts and iMessages, because Apple, you can't export those contacts easily, and iMessages is stuck. I mean,
Actually, Apple, you can export those contacts super easily.
to
I thought you can get them on Gmail pretty easily.
You can export them from the iCloud control panel online. So you
I
go to
should do that then.
iCloud.com and
well, I
grab-
manually just added all my people.
Well, that works too.
But the app investment isn't an issue for you?
No, because I have an iPad, and so those apps still work on the iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it was really the iMessages problem.
Well, and the iMessage. Have you solved that yet?
But just turning off iMessages and going into Apple developers and unregistering my phone,
Did that work?
kind of.
Because I still send iMessages occasionally to
Yeah,
you.
because
Yeah.
iMessages is turned on for some
Oh, and he doesn't get them.
He does not get them.
That was the big problem at Comic-Con.
Yeah,
Right.
we had people that are iPhone users that were sending us text messages, and like, if
I
it
could
was,
send a message to them, and it goes as a text message, but when they respond,
it's
it sends
iMessage.
iMessage.
Maddening. There's probably an easy way to fix that we don't know about. So if you know, send an email to Norm. His email address is on the homepage. Let's see. I used Glass at Comic-Con all last week.
I expected you to be wearing it today.
I'm out of contacts, so I'm a little boned. I got an appointment next week to go back and have more. I've had eye problems. It was weird. It's people there, like when you're surrounded with people that are wearing like Dragon Ball Z costumes and stuff like that, you don't stand out at all. A lot of people ask questions, as is always the case. I've gotten much better at taking pictures with them. Like I can get the framing straight and all that stuff, which took a long time to kind of work out, get the knack of. They're not very comfortable for long periods of time. They're too heavy. They kind of push down on your on the right side of your nose in a way that's pretty uncomfortable. And then the speaker and stuff is of low value. But they were great. The place they were awesome was driving to and from San Diego. So when we're on the interstate, and I program in our next stop, and it tells you how far away you are, how far until the next turn, how far away you are in time, shows you traffic along the way, gives you the full turn-by-turn nav. That stuff was really great and is like dramatically better than fumbling around with the phone trying to get the screen when it does the bing bong and says your next turn is in, and then it spazzes out and you can't hear it, and you have to like then pick up the phone, unlock it, open the app, go into it's much better than that.
When they perfect Glass, do you think it's going to have a larger screen? Is it going to be a wider field of view?
We've seen some stuff that is all like goes. We haven't seen it in person, but we know of some stuff that are displays that go over your entire field of vision. So it's like a normal pair of eyeglasses where the display is built into the lens. I don't know that that's a good thing necessarily. It's there is something to be said for having to look in a overt way up and to the right to see the screen.
Well, what if that's information that's Google Glass is not.
It's not augmented.
It's not augmenting anything, but someone's going to cover your entire field of view can augment things, and then therefore the information displays and the way it displays it can be more subtle.
I think
not as distracting.
That is absolutely true. I think that is a whole other technology. As like functionally, my hunch, and we haven't used a Pebble watch yet, but compared to the other smartwatches that I've used, the only difference between Glass and the smartwatches is that there's a voice connection with Glass. so you can send commands back up to the phone in an easy way. I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. I would love to see the augmented reality stuff take off. Like, the precision that you get on compasses and gyroscopes and GPS today is such that it's going to be like, we need a whole lot more computing power on the phones before that's even possible, for it to be what you want to use.
Yeah, for it to be not like a big red box over that building that recognizes, and as you move it, it's like
It
trying
wiggles.
to catch up and,
Yeah.
and not being synced.
The thing that I would love is the face recognition thing, where it says, "Oh, I'm going to face recognize this picture versus every Facebook profile picture out there," and then come back and say, "Oh yeah, that's John Johnson. He's blah blah blah. Probably, he's a friend of a friend of a friend, so you probably know him, right?"
Porno does that. Google Glass porno.
Yeah, that came out this week. We didn't. I skipped that on purpose. I tapped that glass.
Is that what it's called?
I don't think that's what it's called, but that is a line from the film. We drove to Comic-Con and podcasted from the car. We used the Goal Zero battery pack that we used for the third-person headset. It's just a big lead acid battery that it weighs like 12, 15 pounds, but it gave us power. Oh, actually, we didn't use that for driving podcast. We used that for driving and when we tried to capture glass GPS, we used an inverter for the podcast. It was good. It worked. I guess that'll do it for us.
Car podcasts are things that no one else is doing. So we're a pioneer.
That's true. You
I know.
guys are ahead of everything.
Mobile podcasting. It's like not Jeremy. It's like
Driving cars with comedians?
it's like Jerry Seinfeld's driving.
Jeremy
cars,
Seinfeld is Jerry's older brother.
Driving cars, getting coffee, or what is it called?
Riding cars with comedians.
There's getting coffee in there somewhere, right?
Did he ever do that series?
No, it's a real series now. So he did it for fun the first year, and now Crackle pays for
comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It is not a TV series. It's a web series still. He's doing it for fun, but it's easy for him to do. He has really great guests, and he gets to show off his car collection.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
David Letterman is my new favorite guest now, I think, because he was good in the Jerry Seinfeld thing, and he was great on the Alec Baldwin podcast radio show a few weeks ago. I guess that's it for us. Jeremy, anything you want to plug?
No, but I'll be back to plug something later.
In the not too distant future,
I hope so.
Norman Chan, dude, there's just so much good stuff on the site this week. I don't even know where to start. Just come to the site and look at it, and it's all in the top carousel. The good stuff.
It is a good site this week.
It's always.
I think it's a good site.
It's always a good site, but this week is really good.
Norm's Gallery is.
Yeah, so this is like from a quality perspective, I'd say maybe 5th best week of the year. No, seriously, I'm being very very honest.
The sick thing is that in Norm's head, there's a whiteboard with week of January 9th.
And I can tell
Number
you,
one.
3rd best week of the year, July 4th weekend.
Yep.
This year, it's when we put up all the rest of our space stuff.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Really good week because years are ranked.
I'm just trying to encourage people to go now.
Okay, now I encourage people to go now and in the future. Can always get better.
Every day is better than the one before.
It's Kaizen.
We didn't have any good questions this week, but if you have a question, send it to podcast@tested.com. We prefer audio questions. Make sure it doesn't sound like you're being drugged behind the Ecto 2 as you're driving through the city of New York. And I guess that'll do it for us. We'll see you guys next week. If you like the show, like us on Facebook or Twitter, YouTube, iTunes. We love iTunes reviews. They're really good. We haven't gotten many of those lately. So if you want us to keep doing this, we need some feedback. It doesn't have to be positive. You can tell us what assholes we are. That's totally cool, too. But we read it all, and we'll see you guys next week. I'm going to play the outro, and I'm going to play the plain one. Hi there, I didn't see you. I forgot to download an outro. I forgot to download an outro this week.
Oh my god!
Oh.
They look swollen and puffy. It's all the way in.
Oh. Oh. I thought that was the blank one. Oh, that was